Okay, welcome back. This time we're going to be doing Galaga on the NES Mini. And I do have an arcade plug and play of Galaga. It's on my both my Pac Man plug and play and my Miss Pac Man plug and play. Um, if you watch my Pac Man on the NES Mini video, you probably remember me complaining that, it made me wish I was playing the arcade port instead or the plug and play. Um, Galaga, because with Pac-Man you're doing the really tight turns and you need the joystick for those don't translate too well on a D-pad. I think Galaga works much better with, well, I'd rather be playing the arcade port for sure, but this one isn't as rough as Pac-Man. This one plays a little bit more smoother. The D-pad is fine because you don't have to make any tight turns. I'm not very good at Galaga. My high score is only like 97,000 points. I've never even broken 100. But uh, it is one of my favorite games. For me, every retro gamer gets asked the question, or excuse me, anyone who played old Nintendo, Super Nintendo games or whatever got asked when they were a kid, oh, if you were trapped on a desert island, what three games would you have with you? And, now in my late 30s, mid to late 30s, excuse me, I can safely say that if I was trapped on a desert island, the three games I would want with me are Donkey Kong, Miss Pac-Man, and Galaga. I could play those three games all day long, and I know some retro gamers might think that it's boring that that I chose three score chasing games, but the classics never go out of fashion. Those are the holy trinity of games. You have the all-time greatest space shooter, the all-time greatest platformer, Donkey Kong, and of course, the all-time maybe the all-time greatest video game, Miss Pac-Man. Some prefer Pac-Man, I prefer Miss Pac-Man. And I would love to do the arcade ports, the plug and plays of Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, and even Galaga from my plug and plays. I'd love to put videos of that up on the channel. Unfortunately, I haven't found a workaround to make my plug and plays look really good on the on my capture card. But anyway, enough chit chat. Let's go ahead and jump into Galaga Demons of Death. And I do believe, obviously, Space Invaders came before Galaga. And I think Galaxian also came before Galaga. Nothing wrong with those games. They're great, but Galaga is just simply the best. And we are going to use the tried and true strategy of trying to get the ship captured, get a double ship, so that we can rack up points in the bonus rounds. And I need to be careful. I've already knocked out a bunch of those. Here we go. And whenever I play Galaga, I am, of course... Well, we can still get the captured ship, but we're going to have to rack up some serious points. There we go. Got the double ship. But we're out of lives, so we really got to make this double ship count. Anyway, whenever I play the original Galaga, I'm always instantly reminded of the original fighting game, the first Tekken tournament fighter. Alright, bonus round. Let's try and get it perfect. Oh, I missed one. Yeah, that's going to cost me some bonus points. Bummer. Um, but yeah, when you started up the original Tekken on PlayStation 1, it would allow you to play the bonus rounds of Galaga, and I was never able to pull off this trick, but if you got a perfect on every level, you would unlock, I think it was Devil Kazuya. And I always wanted to unlock him because he was, I figured he must be awesome if they made him so difficult to unlock. Ah, there goes my bonus ship. Let's see, can I at least get an extra life? Okay, so not all hope is lost. We may be able to get another double ship. There we go. Of course, if I lose my life now, that's game over. Woo, very close. Hopefully we can make it to the next bonus round. I am by no means a pro at this game. And one thing I wanted to bring up... Okay, sweet, bonus round. Alright, we're gonna get a perfect. Yes! Alright, we got over 50,000 points. The arcade 1-ups. Now, because unless you are a super huge fan of, maybe you just want to own a, one of these, replica arcade cabinets because it looks cool. If that's the case, then, absolutely, you can't go wrong with, a game like Galaga or Miss Pac Man. Heck, maybe I'll even get one of those. Admittedly, it is really hard to justify spending a bunch of money on a game that, you already have or that you can have much cheaper. Man, they're really coming for me now. Ah. Last life. Like, take the arcade. Oh, shoot. That's it. That's game over. I didn't mean to get captured. I just got a text from my pal, Mike. And he was texting me about the, arcade the arcade 1-up. Those cabinets. Doesn't have an actual board in it. It has a ROM. You put them together yourself. They're kind of expensive. So far, they've done like Street Fighter 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I didn't think they'd ever do because of the licensing issues and Konami. They're doing one. They did one for X-Men. They've done Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2. Now they're on to The Simpsons. Again, which is one I did not think was possible because of licensing issues. But they're taking pre-orders for it now, which means scalpers are going to buy it up and charge a premium for it. So I wouldn't even bother. Not to mention, I do have those games downloaded on my Xbox 360 from when they were briefly available for download, both X-Men and The Simpsons, by Backbone Entertainment. Briefly available for download on the Xbox 360 arcade way back in like 2011 or 2012. Yeah, I personally can't justify spending top dollar on that. Aliens or Alien versus Predator or Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. It might be interesting to see if they do those as arcade one-ups, although I figure there's a lot less demand for it because those are not as quote unquote nostalgic. Um, the one that I have always said I will hold out for is if they do WWF WrestleFest or, by Technos, or if they, which would be really cool, is if they did one that had WWF Superstars and WWF WrestleFest on it. Now, I've always, excuse me, maintained that the reason why it's going to be so difficult to do those is because of the WWF trademark. Titan Sports got in trouble back in 2002 because they were just running wild with the WWF trademark, which belonged to World Wildlife Foundation. I think they had a license to use it. Since then, they've had to go back. They've changed it to World Wrestling Entertainment. They've had to go back and alter all their old media. Anything that used the old WWF logo has to be altered. I don't know that they'll be able to release WrestleFest. Maybe they can just change it to WWE WrestleFest, keep everything else intact. But I'm very pessimistic that we'll ever see Superstars or WrestleFest being made into an arcade one-up cabinet. But if it does, that might be the one that I actually shell out the money for and buy. I don't know. Maybe if you have an arcade cabinet that you are supremely nostalgic for, maybe Super Spike V-Ball would be one. Although that's kind of a niche game. Some persons are very nostalgic for the Battletoads arcade game, which was a very violent beat 'em up style game. Have they done Final Fight? Have they released a Final Fight arcade cabinet? I think it would have been cool if Capcom, Arcade One Up had been able to get a Final Fight Street Fighter 2 cabinet, arcade one up cabinet. I don't know. The subject of arcade one up cabinets, I'm a bit mixed on. It might be kind of cool to own a cabinet that has Miss Pac Man and Galaga, but for the most part, I just find it so hard to justify paying that much money for a game that you already own. It's just not worth it for me to own a reproduction arcade cabinet. Admittedly, though, the ROMs are better than the boards because the ROMs won't break. The other one that I might actually consider shelling out for would be if they had a cabinet that had all three of the Donkey Kong games. That one would have to be produced by Nintendo, not Arcade One Up, because those are Nintendo IPs. If they had one that had Donkey Kong Jr., and Donkey Kong 3, or even Popeye, I would love to have an authentic Popeye arcade cabinet, or excuse me, a reproduction Popeye arcade cabinet. But Nintendo does not seem interested in doing that. So, yeah, we've seen Pac Man, Miss Pac Man, Galaga, but none of the Nintendo arcade cabinets. So, anyway, that's enough on the subject. 73,200, not a great score, but I did get to show off, some impressive play in the bonus rounds, getting the double ship. So, hope you enjoyed it. Galaga Demons of Death, still a great one. One of my all-time favorites. Never get tired of playing this game. And like I said, the classics never go out of fashion. So, have a safe and happy rest of your day. We will do something real fun again real soon.